So, today on the podcast, I wanted to talk about my own journey and what I've been doing basically over the past 14 years, as I get asked a lot about what I've done, what I'm doing, and I thought, you know what, I'll just do a podcast on it. So in 2010, I was pregnant with my first baby. I worked in a media organisation, which was called back then ACP, and it was the Kerry Packer kind of, I suppose, magazine outlet. And I worked there for a number of years. But it wasn't something I was passionate about. It wasn't something that I woke up every day and said, yes, this is what I want to do. So I had a huge interest and passion for health and fitness, but I didn't really know what to do with it and how I could do anything with it as a career. Then I became pregnant with my first baby. And as every woman who has been pregnant knows, you start gaining weight. So it's very much a new thing for me, as I'd previously been very into the health and fitness. And I started, as time went on, I started thinking, maybe there's something that I could do after I've had my baby that can help other women and myself get back to that body confidence and feeling good. So I started doing a bit of research, talking to more and more women who had been pregnant, and they all said there wasn't anything that existed that helped them after they had kids. So at this stage now, I was probably coming on to around 6 months pregnant. So, the tummy was definitely there. And I decided, this is something that I could really throw everything into, because back then, which was 2010, just about all of the kind of health and fitness or programs out there were very much focused on calories, and working out for an hour a day. And, that really wasn't something that was viable for most women, especially not, new parents. So I kind of thought this is something that I could throw everything into myself that I believed in. And it would also help me get back on track after I had my first baby. So at 6 months pregnant, I quit my job, which everybody thought I was absolutely bananas for, and I sold my house. And my husband was 100% on board as well, because he believed in what I kind of thought was a good idea, and he thought it was a good idea too. So I was still pregnant when I launched the business, which was the 1st of October 2010, so long time ago. But I loved it and I gave it my all, and it really resonated with other women and other mums. And it grew so quickly that I literally couldn't believe how much it grew and how much it resonated. And by the time my first baby was born in December 2010, it was already a really busy, thriving little business. And I was absolutely loving it. Like I loved it. I was sharing all my food. I was sharing my exercises. I was talking to other mums who were in a similar stage of life to me. And it was just exciting. I'd never run a business before. I'd obviously been in business, but being in business is so much different to actually running a business. I had no knowledge of finance. I had no knowledge of taxes. It was all kind of just above my head, and I didn't really understand any of that. But I had a huge passion for customers, for health, and for helping people. That's really what I loved. And I remember those days so fondly as my little baby was small. He used to come everywhere with me, and we used to do everything together. I'd have my baby carrier. I'd have him in the pram. We'd be going to the post office to deliver parcels. And it was just this really special time of my life where I was doing something I loved with my baby, and I was independent. I didn't have to work for an organization, and I just loved it. Then as time went on, it got bigger and bigger as more mums discovered the business, which was the Healthy Mummy. I can't remember if I've even said that, but I launched the Healthy Mummy. And it was just incredible. And my second baby was born a couple of years later. So it was kind of all a bit mad. My husband left his job and came in and worked full time in the business as well. So it was really, really this really tight family unit. And we were all doing something that we all felt really passionate about in that health and wellness space for mums. And it was fast paced. There was so many things happening. And as the business grew, so did the kind of staff. and most of the staff were mums who came on and worked with us, and it was a really exciting time. But also it was a stressful time because as much as the business grew, and it grew really quickly, the cost of that business grew as well. So things like the cost of the product, and to make the product was really expensive. So we constantly, we'd obviously sold our house to start the business, but we just kept reinvesting all the money we made through kind of selling our kind of meal plans and the products back into the business. So we as a family kind of were under quite a lot of financial stress. But we were still loving what we were doing. And around 7 years in, we had probably moved house, I think, more than once a year, because we were renting, because we couldn't afford to buy anything. But my passion was still as great, 7 years in as it was 1 year in. And we ended up selling half the business to a private equity firm. And the reason I did that was because I wanted financial security for my kids, because we were renting, we were moving houses at least every year. There was a couple of times it was twice a year. And selling half the business to a private equity firm would enable me and my family to actually buy a house and have financial security. So that's what I did. But I was super, I suppose, naive around what that would meant. I didn't realize it would mean that I would lose so much control over the business and how I ran the business. So it was a really tough time, because when you're the sole decision maker of the business and everything rests with you, and then suddenly that's gone, and you've got, partners who maybe don't, fully believe in your kind of thoughts or decisions. It is a difficult time, and I certainly learned a lot about myself over that time. But I still again felt as passionate about the business as I always have done. And although it was a stressful time with the private equity firm, we still did incredible things with the business, and we continued to grow the business. And we even launched the business over in America and the UK, which was so full on, because it wasn't just that we took the existing Australian app and said, okay, let's put that over there. We actually built new apps and new websites for the UK market and for the American market, because it's different seasons. Obviously, Americans can eat a lot of different foods to the Australian market and the UK market. So everything had to be brand new, and there was a lot of work, as I'm sure you can imagine, in that. And then COVID hit, which was obviously a shock to everyone around the world. And that was a really stressful time with the business as well when COVID hit, because there was so much, stress on the audience and the customers, which I felt so much, because as a business owner and as a person, I'm always about the customer. The community and the customer is my number one. So when the customer and the community is stressed and worried, I'm worried about their stress, and I'm constantly thinking about how we can and how I can do things to help that audience. So it was a very difficult time for the audience, which made it difficult for us as a business, because we were trying to create things and do things to support women, especially, budgets were extremely, extremely tough. But obviously, COVID eventually came to the end, which was good. And then we sold all of the business to a new company. And that was something that really, I didn't have a huge amount of choice on. It came to a stage where, with the private equity firm wanting to sell, and the business needing to go to a new stage, which I was 100% behind as well. So we kind of decided that selling the business to a company who was more aligned in what we wanted to do would be the better way forward. And I was 100% staying on with that business. That's what I wanted more than ever. I wanted a partner or someone who was involved in the business that could help, I suppose, realize my own dreams of helping more and more mums kind of get their, post-baby body confidence. So the company that bought the business was a manufacturing company. So that made perfect sense, because they were going to be able to manufacture all our products, because we had thousands and thousands of smoothies and protein powders and all that kind of stuff, it made great sense because they'd be able to, continue that part of the business, hopefully get better margins for that part of the business, and be able enable the Healthy Mummy to kind of get into kind of mainstream, I suppose, supermarkets, which is something that we couldn't really do because we weren't a manufacturer. So I was really excited about selling the business, and I was really excited about kind of entering that new stage for the Healthy Mummy. So then we sold the business in 2022, and I was 100%, on board, wanting to stay on for the long term and be with that business for a long term and help that business go, as far as it possibly could. Unfortunately, what became quite apparent after the sell is that, the way that the new company wanted to kind of, I suppose, do things, or the way they were doing things was very misaligned to the way my core beliefs were and what I was doing. So I continued on, and I tried to kind of get through it, but then that became extremely stressful for me. It caused me an enormous amount of anxiety, stress, and it was a really troubling time for me, because when you have something that you've put so much of your life into, and then it's changing right in front of you, and there's conflict and I suppose problems which, I'm not going to talk about what they all were, because I think that's not really necessary, but it was a really difficult time, and basically it led to me really feeling the only way I could look after my health and my mental health particularly was to walk away, even though I didn't want to walk away. So I took the really difficult decision to resign from my position, which I didn't want to do, but I felt it was the only way I could kind of have that mental health and peace. And I talked about it with my family and my kids. Doing that meant that I was walking away from an awful lot of money. But I've always been of the belief that your mental wellness and your health is more important than anything else, and that includes money. So I felt that I was going to, and I would stand by my beliefs, which are, family first, always been family first for me, and mental health and mental wellness. And I resigned, and it was really difficult. And I think everybody was enormously shocked when I did that. I was shocked myself. And that was a really difficult time. And it was almost like, a grieving process for me when that business had literally been, my life 24/7 for 12 years. So you can imagine it was enormously difficult to kind of walk away and be cut off really from customers, from my staff, who were incredible. And I've always been so lucky with the Healthy Mummy. And now in my new kind of venture with Zing Wellbeing, that I have amazing women who work with me. And I can't say enough how grateful I am for everyone who has worked with me for so long. I appreciate that so much. And I appreciate all the customers, because the customers who were part of the Healthy Mummy and still are part of the Healthy Mummy have been such a big part of my life. I know so many of them by names. I recognize them so much because, I've lived and breathed everything going on in the Healthy Mummy for 12 years. So it's a really difficult time for me to kind of, to get through, but it was a decision that I had to make, and I had no choice. Then, unfortunately, the business that had bought the Healthy Mummy a couple of years later went into administration, which was devastating for so many people. It was devastating for me. Before it went into administration, the Healthy Mummy was bought by another company called Mosh, and they're the current owners of it. I reached out to Mosh when I heard they had bought the Healthy Mummy, and I guess that, in my positive, always feeling hopeful personality, that's who I am. I wanted to see if I could help Mosh rebuild Healthy Mummy to its former glory, because I love that business, and I missed it. I like I said, it was a grieving, and I really wanted to kind of see how I could help that business get back on track. What could I do? So I helped the Mosh guys for a couple of months, and and it was great. We did content again, and we were looking after the community, and it was amazing, and it was a really great couple of months for me. I think it was 4 months in total, and it was great being back, kind of, helping the business that I loved so much kind of get back to where it could be. And it was amazing to work with the staff again and the customers, and it was awesome. But then what became really clear is that my values and my beliefs of the Healthy Mummy and the business that it was, which was very much, a certain way, weren't really aligned to what Mosh wanted the Healthy Mummy to be. And I totally get that, and I have no ill feeling towards Mosh at all. I mean, Mosh's background are that it's they're a medical health company, and their story is that they started off a good few years ago in the men's hair loss arena. That's where they started, and then after a while of having success with men's hair loss, they went into men's sexual health, which obviously is a big market. And then they went into the weight loss medication area, which is, I'm sure everyone knows, an enormous market right now, because the whole Ozempic and GLPs are everywhere. And they then, after that, I think mid last year, decided they were going to go into the women's weight loss space, and they launched like a sub-brand called Moshi, and then they're the ones who bought the Healthy Mummy. So, what they want for the Healthy Mummy is very different to what I suppose I was hoping I could get the Healthy Mummy back, which is very much food, fitness, and natural, whereas Mosh are medical. So, and whether that's the future or not for weight loss, I just didn't feel that was aligned to my core values of being medical weight loss. It's not my values, it's not who I am. And so I let them know that, and I kind of stopped helping them. Then I had a few months away from everything and thought about what I wanted to do. And I just love health and wellness. That's what I love more than anything: health, food, fitness, wellness, and customers. That's what I love to do. So I decided just to start a little group, my own group on Facebook, which was just about health, fitness, food, just to kind of share things again, because I missed that. It had been over 2 years of me talking to customers, running my own show, having something where I was talking about what I'm passionate about, which is health and food and wellness. That's what I love more than anything. So I started this little group just to kind of, do what I love. And it quickly grew very, very, very fast, more than I thought it was going to grow. And I think in a couple of weeks, there was something like 5,000 women in that group. And it was amazing. And I felt alive again, and I felt excited. I felt that, this is where I should be. This is what I should be doing with my life. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I can see myself doing for the long term. So with that kind of support behind me, I thought, okay, what can I do? What am I going to do now? I didn't want to go back into weight loss. I think that, the weight loss industry has changed so much from when I first started the Healthy Mummy in 2010. And I don't want to be in that space anymore. I think that as I've grown and matured and learnt a lot, I think that weight loss should be a byproduct of living a healthy life. And I don't want to be a program or a person who's promoting weight loss to anyone. I don't think it's a healthy thing to promote. And I didn't want to go and do that again. But I love food and fitness and wellness. And what I really believe is that your mental well-being goes really hand in hand with your physical well-being. And food and what we tell ourselves, what we tell our children, how we live, anxiety, stress, fitness impacts our overall wellness so much. So after a lot of kind of brainstorming and thinking about what I could do, I decided I would launch a women's health and wellness platform, which was really focused around that holistic well-being, which is something that I literally, feel like I could walk around with a banner on all the time, because that's what I believe in. I also wanted to have a platform which also had a big focus on menopause, is because perimenopause and menopause is an enormous part of every woman's life. It's going to happen. It's going to happen to us. And I wanted to have, as part of Zing Wellbeing, which is what the program business is called, I launched Zing Wellbeing, is to have, a women's health and wellness platform which caters to all women at different stages of their life. And the menopause is a big part of that. So I wanted to make sure that that was covered as well as everything else. So then I went into build mode and building a team and really creating this health and wellness platform for women that was safe, supportive, educational, useful to every woman, no matter what part of their life or what stage of their life they're at. And, I'm so proud that we managed to kind of build the website and program within just a couple of months. And it's been incredible to see literally thousands of women come on and join, give feedback and love what we're doing, because I've never found anything like Zing Wellbeing that we've now created. It really is a very different offering to everything else that's out there. It's, it's number one, it's not weight loss. It's really about health. And we've got kind of food as medicine as an enormous focus, because I think that is, probably the most important thing we all need to do all the time is see food as medicine and what we're eating. So that's huge. We've got physical fitness or movement, and we've got things from yoga to Pilates to strength building exercises to HIIT as well, and there'll be more coming. The food as medicine piece is massive, and it's been an enormous job to create all these new recipes. We're up to, I think now, about 450 recipes, and each meal plan we have has been specifically created by our dietitians, nutritionists to cater for specific things. So for example, we've got a menopause plan, we've got a mental well-being food plan, we've got vegetarian, we've got gut health, huge focus on gut health. Honestly, I could talk for hours on gut health because it's so important for us. If we can look after our microbiome and our gut, our mental health and our physical health will be transformed. So gut health is a big focus. We've got dairy-free. We've got anti-inflammatory, we've got PCOS, we've got hormone balancing, and we've got gluten-free, and we've got so many more meal plans coming as well, and all really focus on that food as medicine, which is really exciting. Then we've got lots of mental well-being programs as well, from how to sleep better, how to have less stress, mindset challenges, all things that will help us feel mentally in a better place as well, which is such a big focus for Zing Wellbeing. And together, when we look at kind of that mental well-being and physical well-being, and you put them together, then it really changes the game for our health. I've also put an enormous focus around experts and coaching, because I think that listening to someone or being able to ask questions of someone that you have specifically got is really powerful. So we have got live group coaching that goes on every single week in our private members groups, and they cover from psychotherapists, nutritionists, dietitian, fitness, relationship counselors, life coaches, and we're having more and more incredible coaches coming on all the time. The women who are on our program can talk to that expert live and ask questions. That's so powerful. And just in, the past few months of launching the business, the amount of feedback from women saying just having access to these coaches has literally transformed their health and what they're doing. And that for me is just so empowering and good to know that what we're doing is making that difference. And that's what I'm all about, is making the difference and helping women feel in their best health possible. So with Zing Wellbeing, it really is taking a much broader and holistic approach to women's health. And because it's me and it's because how I do things, it's really placing the customer and the community on a pedestal, listening to what the customer and the community want and making it happen. I am such a hands-on person. Everyone who's worked with me knows that. Everyone who has, been part of the Healthy Mummy business will know that I am there. I am not someone who will just come and say hi every few months. I'm there every day because it's what I believe in. And hopefully, even today, you can see and hear my passion for health and wellness and putting the customer first. I will be there all the time. I will do everything I can to make what we're offering the best place possible for women's health. And I will listen to you. And I'm not saying that I will never make mistakes. I will make mistakes because I'm doing so much stuff. It's impossible not to make mistakes. But if we do make mistakes, we'll correct them. And if there's something we don't have that the customer or you want, I will try and move heaven and earth to make that happen. I am so passionate about doing this, and I'm excited about the future. I have too many ideas. I probably have, 50 ideas a day, and I'm constantly writing them down and then going, okay, is that doable? Is that possible? I love working with great people. I love working with incredible customers, and I feel blessed and so lucky to be here doing something that I love so passionately again, after having a rough couple of years where I kind of felt that I had no choice but to leave the kind of industry and leave what I felt so passionate about and loved. And that was really difficult. It was genuinely hard. So being back here, being lifted up by so many thousands of women who are part of the program and who love what we're doing, literally has given me a new lease of life and has made me feel so lucky and happy to be doing this. So I hope that gives a little bit more, insight into my past few years. And I also want to just say as well that I love the Healthy Mummy business. I love the Healthy Mummy brand. I love the Healthy Mummy customers. If you have been a Healthy Mummy customer, if you are a Healthy Mummy customer still, thank you for supporting the brand that I spent so much of my life dedicated to and building. I have nothing but love for the brand, for the customers, past and present. And I thank you for always being there and being a supporter of me as well. So I wish the Healthy Mummy nothing but the best. And I hope that it goes on to live a long, long and healthy life. But at the same time, I've also got my new Zing Wellbeing program now, which I'm 100% passionate about. And if you do want to come and check it out, I would love you to. You can ask me any questions. You can check out our program. You can check out our recipes. And I hope that you love what we do. Thanks for listening.